Unable to. And we're live. Wow, look at that clock. You can see the clock right above. Oh, very good.
Nice. And I have a little bit of a problem here. What do you do with that?
Okay,
turn your ears.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
All right. Okay. All right.
You see what happens when you put blonde highlights in?
Oh boy. Hey now.
Real Estate Talk is provided for general information only and should not be treated as a substitute for professional advice. Please consult your trusted financial advisor, real estate professional, or attorney before making any real estate or financial decisions. Please remember, when following advice, your results may vary, and all information covered here is not intended to cover all aspects of the subject material, but rather a sample of issues the hosts and guests consider important. And now, Real Estate Talk with your host, Victoria Rivadeneira. Each week, Victoria gathers some of the best minds in the business to provide both professionals and non-professionals with the inside tips and tools to make smarter deals. Whether you're a buyer or seller, Real Estate Talk will give you the competitive advantage you need. And now, here's Victoria Rivadeneira.
Thank you and welcome to Real Estate Talk. We live stream on Facebook.com/Victoria RIVA from New York's AM 710 WOR iHeart Studios every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, except for today, we're on at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Because of the Mets.
Because of the Mets, that's right. Go Mets. If you're watching, let us know by commenting, or better yet, send us some likes, or even better than that, send us some love, because we like love. We actually love love, don't we?
Send money.
You can send money, too.
Send money.
We like love, though. Real Estate Talk airs every Sunday morning on AM 710, and our podcast can be found on retalkradio.com. I'm Victoria Rivadeneira, and that person that you heard rudely interrupting the intro, my co-host and very good friend, Phil Ferranda. How are you today?
I'm just fine, and I'm righteously indignant about the subject matter today.
I have had caffeine. I'm not sure about righteously. Yes, you've had a lot of caffeine today.
Yes.
Cup of coffee this morning, and not one, but 2 Cokes.
Yes.
That's a little scary.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. And we also have Lior Aldad, who is our attorney co-host. Hi, Lior. How are you today?
Good, fantastic. Looking forward.
Yeah, very, very good show today. It is a holiday.
Topic. Yes, indeed. Starting tonight.
Yes, what holiday are we celebrating?
It's a New Year. It's
nice.
a Jewish New Year.
Very nice.
Wishing everybody on behalf of my entire self a Happy New Year.
Awesome, and Happy New Year to you. It is also, we are coming into the fall. The weather is just about changing. Are you liking this weather?
I like it. I think it's very interesting. It diversified a little bit. And I like the 4 seasons, which we have in New York. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm a big Floridian fan, so I could do it out the 4 seasons, although I do like autumn in New York.
I agree.
It is definitely beautiful. And of course, it just gives me another opportunity to shop.
There you go.
Every time there's a season change, I'm a professional shopper. I have to go out and see what's going on. Yeah,
don't use your credit card.
Well, that's exactly where I was going with that. You know, when you shop, credit is very, very important. And it's very important to have very good credit. What is going on? Why are you saying not to use my credit card?
Something happened months ago, but we only just found out about it because the hoodlums over at Equifax decided that they would sit on the information and sell off their stock before they told us about it. So on that note, should I introduce the guest, or are you going to continue?
You can absolutely introduce the guest because he is an expert on this subject.
All right. My expert is Paul Oster. Now, this is a great bio. I know Paul, so this is going to be easy to do, but I'm going to read it anyway. All right. This is the nation's credit repairman. All right. He has been on all the networks, Fox News, NBC, CBS, all of those locally, WPIX. He's written for Kiplinger's, the Wall Street Journal, the Daily News. He's the founder and president of Better Qualified, which many of my clients have used, and they are experts in credit repair. He is 20 years in the business, insurance, banking industries. He's a consumer advocate. He's on the board of directors for the Red Cross. His humor and his intelligence are highly sought after from executives in the C-suite of major corporations. And let me tell you something, Paul, welcome, and the people at Equifax sure could use some laughs today.
Well, I don't know if they're laughing or if they will ever laugh again, that's for sure.
And after this show, I'm not sure they'll be laughing because you are going to
I should probably put some
really give us
disclaimers out there.
information. Yeah, that's why we have Lior here today.
Okay, Lee. Let me know if I cross the line.
I will.
So again, we have BYOM.
Yeah. He's brought his own music.
He brought his own music.
And this, people of a certain age will remember when this was actually played on the little circular discs.
So I have a question for you, Paul. Why this song? Why was this your choice?
Well, if you think about it, who are you? I really don't know who you are. I mean, I know you by face, but if I got an email from you or
Do you
I
know
looked
if
at
it's
an
really
account,
me?
do I know if it's really you? And, this leads us right into why the Equifax data breach is worse than any of the others that we've had before. Not necessarily in volume, because there have been larger.
More than 143 million in one time?
For sure.
Oh, wow. I
But
didn't know that.
This one is the nature and the sensitivity of the data that they were able to obtain from this data breach. This one's going to have legs like we've never seen before.
For years. The repercussions of this
No,
can't help
it's a
but be
lifetime.
felt for yeah.
Yeah, until we figure out a completely different way to identify people, and we might have to start from scratch on this one because, like you're saying, it could be years from now when this becomes a problem of what is called synthetic identity theft, true name identity theft. Look, if somebody uses your credit card fraudulently, they were able to take a picture or a snapshot of your credit card and use it, that's bad. But this is somebody creating a completely new identity that belongs to you, but somebody's using it for nefarious purposes. So,
Paul, for those who don't know, can you elaborate a little bit as to what transpired and what took place exactly, and then we can pick up?
Yeah, so Equifax had a data breach that was, it allowed the cyber thieves to access 143 million credit profiles.
And Equifax, just so the people out in Radio Land understand, is one of the 3 major credit reporting bureaus out there. So if I run out to get a mortgage,
Yep.
they're going to do what's called a tri-merged report, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. So this is one of the 3 legs of that credit tripod.
One of the big 3 credit repositories. These are not government agencies. They have no government affiliation at all, although these are very, very powerful companies. They are privately...
How did they get so powerful? Let's explain that.
Well,
I think that's a little bit of the disturbing part of this as well.
Sure. So, the 2 biggest industries, and, with that being said, the banking and insurance industries have relied heavily upon the data that they obtain from these 3 bureaus in order to determine our interest rates and our insurance premiums.
And how they're doing that is they're taking that data and they have created a system that scores the data that they're collecting on each individual, and that's your FICO score.
Exactly. And a lot of people are outraged when they start to think about the credit bureaus themselves, and they say, well, how did they get my data? I never signed anything that said, they can be privy to all of my most sensitive data. The scariest part of this is that there are 1,000 different data aggregators below the credit bureaus that are feeding this information into the big 3 repositories. And we don't sign agreements directly with Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, but you do sign agreements every time that you open up a new line of credit or do any type of financing. Somewhere in the small print, it's going to say that you're allowing the creditor to share that information with these agencies. So, I mean...
Are you referring to the consent to run a credit check against you form?
Well, even before that. So if you apply for a credit card,
right,
during that application process, you're giving the creditor consent to give all of your information to the credit bureaus themselves.
To secure your credit number, your credit...
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
So if you want to borrow money, this is the bargain you make. You trade your information, your social security number, your credit profile in exchange for borrowing money. That's just what you do. That is the consumer bargain the consumer makes.
Exactly.
Without exception. You can't opt out. That's it.
If you want to go traditional financing, that's it.
Right. Okay.
But look at it from the other way. The lender, right, or the company who's giving you the credit wants to rely on whom you are in order to feel comfortable to relinquish such credit or such funds.
Listen, I get it.
So
I'm the first person to
system,
argue.
the system has flaws, but the system was built for checks and balances.
It was. So there are two sides to the coin. The days of walking down to the corner banker who knew your father and your grandfather and made a decision.
It's a wonderful life.
Yeah. And made a decision based upon that relationship, they're over.
Right.
So there's only so many ways that we can come up with some metrics to determine whether or not I should actually lend you some money or extend some credit your way. And this happens to be the way that we've chosen.
Right. So one of the three major credit reporting bureaus, and when I was a loan officer, people hated credit reporting bureaus, and the answer was always, they're just reporting the weather. They don't make it.
That's right.
Right. So I was always defended them. But in this case, they had one job: to be curators of the information, to keep it secure. So do we know who did this hacking?
Not yet. But we will find out. So I was saying in the beginning of the data breach, I wasn't going to fault Equifax, because if you listen to the CEO of FireEye, which I do, their estimates are 96% of all corporations that do business online have already become a victim of some level of data breach, and Equifax being one of them. But now that we found out that Equifax had some smaller breaches, which is usually the telltale sign that someone's looking to do a large data dump, and they didn't react to it. So they had two breaches. They were warned by reputable companies in the cybersecurity industry, and they said, look, your current cybersecurity practices are not up to snuff.
Okay.
They didn't do anything about it. So now I fault them.
Now it's your fault.
Yeah, now it's your fault.
So you think from a legal perspective they're grossly negligent, having the duty and being warned about it and then failing to proper take action.
I think you're up to close to 50 lawsuits,
Right.
around 30 of them being class action lawsuits already.
I can
State
imagine.
by state, this is going to happen. And I say, good. This could change the entire industry, and rightfully so, as to who collects our data, where it's stored, and what can
And
be
who's
done with it.
policing that?
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I've said. We've been doing this for over 11 years, and from the very beginning, when I looked at the industry, the FTC has loosely regulated the big three credit bureaus, and I mean very loosely. Everyone, nobody was really happy with the advent of the CFPB, but I, for one, applaud them in what they've done thus far in looking at the credit reporting industry and saying, what are you doing?
The CFPB being the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, one of the very first things that they've done, and they've done it continuously, is looked at this industry and said, so much of our lives are impacted upon this, and, thus far we've given consumers one free look at their credit reports every 12 months. Thanks for nothing. We didn't have access to our FICO scores up until recently, when the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, said to the banks, you have to give the consumer access. So now a lot of the credit card companies, whether you're a consumer or a client of theirs or not, are offering you a way to take a look at your FICO score.
And how do you do that?
Well, you can go to any of the major banking sites. I use, I have a Discover card. So I can go onto my Discover card and look at my FICO score, albeit, and we don't have enough time to get into the difference, but you're looking at a consumer score as opposed to a
Versus
mortgage
a
report
FICO score. Right.
or an auto FICO score. There is 1,000 different FICO scores out there, but at least it's a FICO score.
So when did the big breach occur? So they had some little breaches,
Yep.
all right? And they got a warning. They didn't do anything about it. Then came the big breach. When was the big hacking?
Around May.
May.
Yeah.
So the hacking occurs in May.
Right.
We don't know about it in May. We don't hear about it in June.
We don't know about it in July.
August.
Mm-hmm.
So we go 4 more months. And in the interim, the executives at Equifax, coincidentally perhaps, in full knowledge of this information, sell a ton of their stock off. Then they disclose publicly that there was a hacking.
Yep. So the time lag in between them finding out about the data breach and announcing it to the public really isn't their fault, because they did follow the protocol of alerting the Attorney General that something had happened, and the Attorney General actually advised them not to disclose it, because what they want to do is they want to start their investigations. Well, I'm going to get to that. So they want a certain amount of time to start to develop an investigation and see if they can track where this data is going. So without alerting the public for a couple of months, that's not Equifax's fault per se. That was under the advice from the Attorney General. The fact that they sold the stock, the CEO has to choose which sword he wants to fall on. So if you're saying that you didn't alert some key executives in your corporation that there was a major data breach, or do you want to fall on the sword that you alerted them and they sold their stock? So he actually came out and said, I don't think they knew about it. Well, what are you doing? You don't hold a meeting and brief your top people that we had a data breach. What should we do? Everybody's in a lot of trouble. There's been some updates recently, and we'll get to how you can get a hold of all this information. But the latest update is they did force some of their key employees to retire.
Aha, so some people lost their jobs.
Some people lost their jobs.
And these are people that were fatutzing around on websites they shouldn't have been on. These are people that were not.
These are the chief information officer, the chief security officer.
So the guys with the keys.
The guys that knew about these initial data breaches and chose not to upgrade their systems. Look, I don't know how much money Equifax made last year, but it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the fact that they chose not to reinvest one penny into the infrastructure and their data security, now
That's
I hold
very
them.
troubling.
And what's been the biggest story of the last election cycle? Hacked.
Yeah.
Everything's hacked.
Everything.
Everything is
WikiLeaks,
hacked.
everything. This is the first time we ever said the word hacking in an election of this democracy, and they don't do anything about data security, about making sure that they aren't compromised. Come on.
Exactly.
So what exactly was stolen? The socials, the date of birth,
So the 143 million credit profiles
143 million
contained
people.
Full legal names, addresses, social security numbers, dates of birth. And when you think about a credit report, it has every single account that you have. So, Phil, when you mentioned that this has legs for years, and I said a lifetime, here's what's going to happen. And it's already happening. You might get a phone call, right? So the hacker, and let's take a step back. The hackers don't use the information. They steal the information. Then the information is sold on the dark web, on the black market through the internet. And if I want to buy some information, I go on.
I want to be Lior.
First of all, yeah. So I did this, right? I did an investigation for CBS last year on the dark web.
Okay.
So I was able to go on the dark web. You download this router called the Onion router. It's really a crazy thing. But you have access to the dark web, and what that means is there's complete anonymity. So I go on there and I could type in credit cards. So now I'll come up with vendors, people who are selling credit card data.
So this is like a dark alley in a van.
That's the way it used to be. Exactly.
This is a cyber dark alley.
Right. So the guy who stole the stuff from the flea market or the store and is selling it on the back street, they're selling it on the dark web. So I go on there and I say, oh, look at Lior. Lior has a 5-star rating because his credit cards have been verified and validated that they're still open.
Right.
And that's why I said before. Now
And I say I want to buy.
Lior. Yeah.
I want to buy 1,000 credit cards, and it might cost me $10,000. They're about $10 a pop, and I get your name, your address, your credit card number, and your security code. So now I can go out and start making purchases on your card, unbeknownst to you. It costs me $10. I go out. Now, when I first do this, I make a purchase for $25. Because I want to see if it's. I trust Lior, but I'm going to see if it works. My first purchase is $25,
and if he doesn't notice and nothing happens,
$2,500.
Yep.
Walmart.com, Amazon. These are all wide open spaces that people can use the stolen data.
When we come back, Paul Oster is going to tell us a lot more about this data breach and how to survive this data breach. I'm Victoria Rivadeneira. I'm here with Phil Ferranda and Lior Eldad, and you're listening to Real Estate Talk from New York's WOR AM 710 from iHeart Studios.
Do you know what to look for when choosing a title company? It's important to find a provider with years of experience, solid financial backing, and proven expertise on all types of transactions. With Stewart Title Company, you get that. We've been protecting real estate titles since 1893. That long history, along with our sound financial picture, is your assurance of our knowledge and title expertise. Our underwriters are known as being industry leaders. They're responsive, like a good partner should be. And with Stewart Title offices being located worldwide, we can provide title and closing expertise anywhere you need it. Why not let Stewart Title help you close more transactions? Visit Stewart.com to learn more.
This is Paul Oster, the nation's credit repairman, and I want to help you improve your credit. As the CEO of Better Qualified, I've helped thousands of people over the past 10 years. I'm the credit expert for Fox Business News and all the major networks. I'm a certified FICO Pro that uses the consumer laws to help delete negative information off of credit reports. We have a debt elimination program that focuses on the laws surrounding collections, judgments, and charge-offs. You could be entitled to up to $1,000 per violation. Call now for your free credit consultation. 888-533-8138. That number again, 888-533-8138, or visit us on the web at betterqualified.com.
Every loan has a story, a family, and a dream that fuels it. My name is Jacqueline Sendra, mortgage loan originator number 39117, specializing in first-time homebuyer financing and an array of mortgage products. We recognize the importance of competitive rates and a custom-tailored mortgage loan to suit your needs. United Northern Mortgage Bankers Ltd. celebrates over 37 years of mortgage banking success. Allow us to help you achieve your dream of homeownership by reaching out to me today at 631-478-2706. Again, 631-478-2706. United Northern Mortgage Lenders Ltd. NMLS number 7230 is an equal housing lender and a licensed mortgage banker located at 3601 Hempstead Turnpike, Suite 300, Levittown, New York 11756, New York State Department of Financial Services.
For more real estate talk, download our free podcast at retalkradio.com. Now back to Victoria Rivadeneira.
And we're back. If you're just joining us now, you can listen to our entire show by going to our podcast found on retalkradio.com. We are here in the studio at iHeart Studios here in New York talking to America's credit expert, Paul Oster. And Paul, just before we left, we were talking about how we can all become Lior and now use his information. And we're just saying Lior as a person. We can be anyone we want.
Thank you.
We all want to be you though, Lior. So I go in, I charge $2,500, make sure it works. It works. Now I can go out and buy anything. But more importantly, I have a question about taxes. Once I know that this is working, I can file taxes in his name and get his return. Is
Absolutely.
that correct?
So even before the Equifax data breach, identity theft that involved tax returns is the fastest growing segment of identity theft. So now this just makes it, that much easier. So if there's one thing that you want to kind of take away and write down from today's show is that all of us need to go on and open our accounts online with the IRS. So you go to irs.gov and create your account online. And you may never use it. Your CPA, your accountant, files your accounts electronically, however you do it. But the reality is, if you don't create that account, you're leaving your information wide open for the identity thieves to then go ahead and open up an account fraudulently and file tax returns in your name.
Very scary stuff.
Oh.
How do you reverse that?
Well, again, I don't think you can
What
reverse
happens?
it. So unless we reset the clock on all of this, there's no such thing as identity theft protection. I think that's been proven over and over again. You had the silly guy from LifeLock or whatever a couple of years ago. He put his social security number out there. He was hacked in like 4 minutes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. We hear this terrible news. We figure that anybody that has, unless you live in a cabin somewhere off the grid, you're affected. They drive you to this website, all right? Whether or not they
Their
say...
website.
Yeah, their website. So you go to their website, and what's the first thing these jerks are doing is they're trying to sell you ID theft protection.
Yep.
Why are they allowed to do that? So they have this security breach, one of the largest security breaches, 140 million people affected that we know of right now, right?
Yes.
And now we're going to them for help so that they can make money on protecting us for something that they put us in danger of.
Listen,
how is this possible?
I've spoken at 2 government affairs conferences in regards to the credit reporting industry, and the last one I was just at, somebody made a kind of off-the-cuff mark to me, but, he said, Paul, these are very, very powerful people, and they lobby tens of millions of dollars to be able to do what they do. And if you think about it for just a second, all of us that are in the industry know firsthand the amount of scrutiny and regulations and the changes that we had to go through recently. The credit bureaus didn't change anything. They weren't included. Sarbanes-Oxley, I mean, nothing changed for them. And if you just think...
Why?
Because they're rich and powerful and they got the government in their pocket. Oh, did I say that out loud?
I get that, but why are we okay with this? Why are we going to their site and asking them to help us now after they put us in danger?
So
what else can we do?
Where else are you going?
Right.
So
That's really the question. Where else
are you
can we
gonna
go?
So I've said it since day one. Again, they want you to go to their site, give them all of your information again online, including...
Because they protected it so well the first time around.
Just to see if you've become a victim. They want all of your personal data that you're going to give to them online. And as a matter of fact, they're not following the normal course of action and asking for the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. They want the last 6. So then that way, if somebody steals the information, they can find out the first 3 digits of your Social Security number in 5 seconds by figuring out where you were born. And now they have, again, all of the information that they would need to steal your identity.
Paul, what does that mean to freeze? Someone told me you can freeze your social.
Yes.
Should we, and what does that mean?
So there's pros and cons associated with security freezes and fraud alerts. So a security freeze is by far the best way to protect the information on your credit reports, because no one, including you, will have access to your credit profile without lifting the security freeze first.
So should we do that now?
So here's the caveat. When you put a security freeze on your credit report, no one, including you, will have access to the credit reports. So if you're the type of person that, opens up a point-of-sale credit card, the holidays are coming, whether it's Raymore Flanigan, Macy's, JCPenney, department stores, they want to give you a discount because you opened up a credit card. You can't do it immediately. If you're involved in purchasing a home, buying a car, anything like that, a security freeze is not the way to go, because you will create roadblocks for the legitimate creditors. They won't have access.
That's a catch-22, though, because you are keeping the floodgate open for people to steal your identity and hijack your mortgage application just for the privilege of convenience for your lender or something
But
like that.
what's the unfreeze turnaround time?
So
is it 2 hours or 48
in the
hours?
old days, Lior, and I'm talking about 2 weeks ago, it was 24 to 48 hours. I suspect in the new world, it's going to be very, very different. Equifax can't
To
unfreeze it. They can't even freeze it. They can't keep up with the demand. As crazy as it is, the entire country is going to their website
and putting a freeze
and trying to figure out, was I a victim? I'm not a victim. I heard a security freeze is best, so I'm going to try and place a security freeze. I actually did it, and I put myself out there in a little bit of harm's way just to see what happened. When I put my name and the last 6 digits of my Social Security number, I was told that I was or possibly a victim of this data breach, and I should check back in a couple of months to see, because the volume, if you can imagine, is to such a point. So they're offering all sorts of free services and things like that, and I just think that it causes a whole new set of questions and concerns when you're talking about, do I want to put my future identity issues with the same company that caused the breach in the first place?
Well, that was my question before. And now they're also offering free credit reports if you apply before November 21st, something like that.
Yes.
Right? Am I right?
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, they're offering free credit monitoring that involves a free credit report. First of all, anybody can get a free credit report at annualcreditreport.com.
Okay.
So, again, do I want to give the information necessary to Equifax to give me my free report? I'm not so sure about that.
What are the other 2 agencies doing? Are they stepping up to this?
Well, you would think so. So I've seen enough now.
They're high-fiving each other in the boardroom is what they're doing.
Thank God it wasn't us.
Right. Well, exactly. So, but I would also, you would assume that they are, but maybe they're not. Look, why would Equifax not have increased or changed their security, their data security, when they were advised to do so long before this data breach?
So short of checking your bank statements every month and checking your credit card statements every month and opening the IRS account.
Yeah.
What other actions can we take?
So
you're saying
unfortunately-
freezing is not the right way.
Yeah.
Monitoring regularly is vital, right?
Yep.
Opening the IRS account is critical.
I know with the guy growing, I know that my first boss growing up would say,
Put
punt.
your tail between your legs.
He'd say punt.
Right, or drop back and punt. Right. No, so look,
Gotcha.
There's no such thing as protection. And Victoria, we spoke about this earlier. If we could flip the switch for a second for the professionals that are listening, to the show, think about what practices or best practices you've employed to secure the data of your clients. We live in a mobile, digital world. And if you're sending and receiving contracts and documents on your mobile phone, then you're as guilty as Equifax here. Now, it might not be as large of a data breach for sure, but the reality is that you're making it very, very easy for any cyber criminal to take the data that you're sending and receiving on your mobile device. Our mobile devices, and I don't care if it's the iPhone 12, which will probably cost $2,000, they are simply not as secure as our PCs. So have you done anything to, increase the data security on your mobile device? There are free apps out there from Symantec and McAfee that you can download for free on your mobile device that will increase the data security. But again, it's never going to be as secure as a landline-based PC. And unfortunately, most of the people that are home on their laptops are doing it wirelessly, and they say, "Oh yeah, but my Wi-Fi, you need a password to get in there."
I have an exclamation point in my password.
And it's not my pet's name.
So I just recently, did a show on passwords, and the let's call him the grandfather of passwords, who wrote the first papers on passwords 15 years ago. Listen, he was criticizing himself, and he was kicking, and he said, "I didn't do such a good job." Look, 15 years ago, that was the best we had. Changing letters with numbers and putting symbols in there.
Hashtags or something.
Yeah, that was awesome. But in today's world, here's the reality. the softwares that we have in place can crack a password in less than 24 hours. Usually it's minutes. A passphrase is the way to go, and something that doesn't make sense, maybe it only makes sense to you, you put stuff backwards, whatever it is. Right now, the softwares that are in place, and look, this changes every single day, but at least as of right now, a passphrase, it could take them 100 years.
Yeah, so if you in other words, instead of having a password like password with 2 5s and a 0, you would say like, peanut butter, car, well, not car, but peanut butter, automobile, headphone, jacket. That would be a nonsensical phrase.
There's only so many words in the world, and these softwares have them all. So then they say, okay, everybody uses the exclamation for an L or the 1 for the, but phrases, it's almost infinite.
Yeah.
So when you change your password to a passphrase, you're doing whatever the best you can to protect your data. Again, is it foolproof? No, but at least you've done something. Listen, if you're listening,
bad guys go for the low-hanging fruit anyway.
Then listen. So if you think about the guy you talked about in the dark alley, the guy that stole that stuff was running through the parking lot, right? And he's lifting door handles, and he doesn't want to break any windows. He doesn't want to cause any disturbance. And when he finds the door that's open, he looks in the car and he says, "Oh, there's a hat, some gloves, some change in the console." So it's the same thing that's happening today. It just happens on the internet. So if you're the person that hasn't changed your PINs and passwords, and you're just waiting to become a victim of identity theft, then I say shame on you.
So a phrase, for example, as a form of a password is, "I love my wife." That would be a good password.
Nope.
Okay, stop kissing. I know she listens to the show. Come on.
Just want to make sure.
Okay.
Password phrase you're talking about.
That's got to be nonsensical. I recall this article, as a matter of fact.
Yes, it should be
love,
nonsensical
right.
because certain phrases like that are in the database already. So you might want to change it.
I think we should talk about policing. That's my opinion. Policing and what happens, and can we bring it up to a level where such a situation exposing so many millions of people as a crime?
So here's the great thing, and you may not have seen this, but in the great state of New York, right, they just put a bill out, Cuomo, that says the credit bureaus, believe it or not, they haven't been held to this standard, should be required to register with the state of New York in terms of data security. So up until this point, the big 3 credit bureaus have not had to register state by state, even though they are in receipt of millions of credit profiles, the same way that any other company that registers themselves to do business in the state of New York. In order to do that, you have to register with the Attorney General, and you have to abide by their cybersecurity laws.
So law or no law?
So this is a step in the right direction. Sorry, Phil.
It helps.
Right, with the unfortunate catalyst, but it absolutely is the step in the right direction.
It patches the boat at the bottom of the lake, if you ask me. But let me ask you this question. How much gall is it? How much chutzpah does it take to do this screw up? And then when you go to this website that they run, they solicit you to register again, and grow their database. And any moron can monetize a database, especially if you've got hundreds of thousands of people that are registering. They're going to profit from this.
Absolutely. There will be profits from Equifax in regards to this data breach.
So what do we do as consumers?
Because not everybody, although Equifax was in receipt of all of our data information, again, because we kind of signed off on it from the creditors, we weren't clients of Equifax. Now they just, increase their client base by millions, tens of millions.
Because now everyone's running to the site saying,
everyone's going
I need to have this monitored.
Exactly.
All right, so let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Why should we even use Equifax at this point? No, but what I'm saying, if I'm a mortgage bank, and you've applied for a mortgage with me, and typically what banks do is they'll take the middle of the 3 scores. They'll look at your TransUnion, your Equifax, and your Experian. Why wouldn't they just take the
2
average,
out of the 3 in average?
Yeah, and leave out. Why should we use them?
Maybe banks, should step up. It's a great time for them to say, you know what, on behalf of our consumers, we're not using Equifax.
Yeah, first bank that says, hey, we're not using Equifax for the foreseeable future to evaluate credit applications.
Go to bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. You don't have to go to Equifax to find out whether or not
hold that thought, because when we come back, I want you to tell us where we can go. Because there is another place to go, and there is a survival guide, and there are really good tips on how to protect ourselves. So when we come back, Paul Oster, America's credit expert. I'm like so excited about this. Thank you. I think I always call you the credit expert, but credit repairman is going to answer those questions and give us the information that we are looking for. I'm Victoria Rivadeneira. I'm here with Phil Ferranda, Lior Aldad, and you're listening to Real Estate Talk from New York's WOR AM 710 from iHeart Studios.
Has a story, a family, and a dream that fuels it. My name is Jacqueline Sendra, mortgage loan originator number 39117, specializing in first-time homebuyer financing and an array of mortgage products. We recognize the importance of competitive rates and a custom-tailored mortgage loan to suit your needs. United Northern Mortgage Bankers Ltd. celebrates over 37 years of mortgage banking success. Allow us to help you achieve your dream of homeownership by reaching out to me today at 631-478-2706. Again, 631-478-2706. United Northern Mortgage Lenders Ltd. NMLS number 7230 is an equal housing lender and a licensed mortgage banker located at 3601 Hempstead Turnpike, Suite 300, Levittown, New York 11756, New York State Department of Financial Services.
Do you know what to look for when choosing a title company? It's important to find a provider with years of experience, solid financial backing, and proven expertise on all types of transactions. With Stewart Title Company, you get that. We've been protecting real estate titles since 1893. That long history, along with our sound financial picture, is your assurance of our knowledge and title expertise. Our underwriters are known as being industry leaders. They're responsive, like a good partner should be. And with Stewart Title offices being located worldwide, we can provide title and closing expertise anywhere you need it. Why not let Stewart Title help you close more transactions? Visit Stewart.com to learn more.
This is Paul Oster, the nation's credit repairman, and I want to help you improve your credit. As the CEO of Better Qualified, I've helped thousands of people over the past 10 years. I'm the credit expert for Fox Business News and all the major networks. I'm a certified FICO pro that uses the consumer laws to help delete negative information off of credit reports. We have a debt elimination program that focuses on the laws surrounding collections, judgments, and charge-offs. You could be entitled to up to $1,000 per violation. Call now for your free credit consultation. 888-533-8138. That number again, 888-533-8138, or visit us on the web at betterqualified.com.
RETalkRadio.com is your portal for cutting-edge information to give you an advantage in the competitive real estate market. Now, back to Real Estate Talk with Victoria Rivadeneira.
And we're back. And if you're just joining us now, you can listen to our entire show by going to our podcast found on retalkradio.com. We are talking to Paul Oster, who I call America's credit expert, but he is America's credit repairman.
The nation's credit repairman.
I just can't
stallion.
Get it right. The stallion.
Stud.
The stud. The man. He's here in the studio. Tell us where we need to go if we want to protect ourselves.
So, again, I don't think you necessarily need to go to Equifax's website because if you go there, the odds are they're going to tell you that you were possibly a victim of this data breach. So let's just assume that we've all become a victim at some point in time, whether it was the Home Depot, the Target data breach. You know, there's been 1,000 of them.
Yep.
So the reality is that you are a victim. So then you start to take the best practices for your own data. And I created what's called the Data Breach Survival Guide. And all you have to do to get a copy of the guide is text the word FIX, F-I-X, to the number 71441. Again, text the word FIX, F-I-X, to the number 71441. And I will send you a copy of the Data Breach Survival Guide. And all it, basically says...
And that's free?
It is free. And it just goes over, again, all of the best practices, some of the things that we forget to do. Again, change your PINs and passwords. It sounds simple. I know it's a pain in the butt. But the reality is, if you've ever been a victim of identity theft, then all of those people say to me, I wish I would have changed my PINs and passwords, because your data is in 10 million different databases. And when somebody goes to use it, if you haven't changed your PINs and passwords, then you're making yourself a very easy victim.
All right, so text FIX to 71441.
Exactly.
Okay. It is in the comments.
Yep. Send a one-time text message, compose a text message. The number 71441 is like a phone number, and your message is going to be FIX, F-I-X.
We're getting comments. Scary stuff. People are concerned.
They should be concerned.
Yeah. So, to me, one of my favorite movies was Fight Club. And what people forget about between the soap and the fights and Brad Pitt and everything like that was that at the end of the movie, they blow up the financial institution at the end. They blow up the credit reporting agencies or something like that. And there was a funny...
you should chime in.
There was a funny tweet.
It's making me very nervous right now.
No comment here.
There was a funny tweet that went viral months ago where somebody said, why don't the hackers do something useful, like give us all an 800 credit score?
I saw it. I loved it.
That was hilarious. I may have found it on your wall, by the way. But this is a Fight Club level event. Why should any reputable financial institution use Equifax going forward?
Again, I hadn't thought about it until you just first said it. But if I'm a bank or a financing company, I might choose to come out of the box saying, on behalf of our consumers, we're concerned about your data, and we're really not happy with the fact that Equifax didn't choose to upgrade their cybersecurity, and so we're not going to use them.
Yeah, it's like sending sorry you had a heart attack, the ambulance is on his way, we're driving a Pinto. Come on.
Yes.
But let me ask you a question. Can the company come up with a defense saying that we are ourselves a victim of circumstances, victims of the times, victims of where we are today, and that we are not the only one, but we are just a whole part of a group?
Leor, that's where I was going in the very beginning of this. And I said, I spoke on 1010 Wins and said, I don't hold them, I don't think they should be held accountable. I forget what I said, but I said that all companies can be a victim very easily. But the fact that Equifax was warned that what they were currently doing wasn't good enough, and they chose not to change it, now I hold them directly accountable for what they did. What I was saying in the beginning was...
negligent for failing to act when they were advised otherwise of a forthcoming situation.
In the beginning, I said I wasn't going to scrutinize them because they were a victim of a data breach. I was going to hold them accountable for how they responded. So the first thing I said was they better not only offer one credit bureau monitoring for 1 year, because that's kind of the status quo. Big corporations have a data breach. Everybody that's involved gets 12 months of free credit monitoring at one credit bureau. Again, thanks for nothing. There's 3 different bureaus. They have 3 different sets of data and information oftentimes. So they did the right thing by offering a 3-bureau credit monitoring program. But Phil, you mentioned this. At the end of the 12 months, what do you think is going to happen when tens of millions of people...
They're going to upsell you. There's
tens
no
of millions
doubt.
of people have signed up for Equifax's free credit monitoring. They're going to get an email that says, hey, Victoria...
Would you like to continue for X amount of dollars?
In 30
100%.
days, your free credit monitoring is expiring, and you'd be crazy not to continue for $19.95 a month. So the fact that this might become an actual revenue
a profit
event
center.
and a profit center for Equifax makes me very, very angry.
So comment, the GSEs, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, require all 3 credit reporting agencies. We know this. That is a rule that this is where the government, I think, should get involved. They should change that rule. One of the credit reporting agencies is no longer a reliable source. I have no confidence in them. I can't imagine anybody that would have confidence in them. And that for me is the problem.
Yeah, with enough pressure, that statement could easily say the GSEs used to rely on all three bureaus. Now they only rely on two. Look, there was a point in time not so long ago where the FICO score wasn't held the way that it is now.
Yeah.
It was used as a secondary marker for somebody that was applying. So it's only.
Well, I have to ask you again. What are the other two agencies doing? Why will they not become a victim tomorrow? They can be.
Well, they
can go
could
through
be.
the exact same thing tomorrow.
Listen, this begs to the question as to, are we really, as a consumer, look, even on I'll go back to our phones and our mobile devices. Every single app that you download, when was the last time you read the terms and conditions?
Never.
And the privacy statements that are, in those apps are scary.
Mm-hmm.
You actually get, most of the apps that you download, you're giving them permission to change your emails.
It's everything. I mean,
access
even
to your
Google,
photos.
Gmail tells you right in their agreement, we are going to read your emails.
Yes. So it's been talked about before, when we start to put all of our data into these central data banks, at a certain point in time, we may have to take a step back and give up a little convenience for the sake of our privacy. Now, because we got here in a nanosecond. Like, the laws can't keep up. When you're talking about cybersecurity and the internet, the laws can't even keep up with it. It moves so fast.
Right.
So look at the millennials. Those poor kids. They don't know. They just think that's what you should do. I'm going to give them all of my
There's an app
information.
for that.
There's an app for that. So there's an app for identity theft. I'm going to give all of my information to everybody.
Well, I hold this to a different standard, though. Okay, so I shouldn't probably send certain emails, I suppose. I get that.
Right.
As a
They
real
should be
estate
encrypted.
broker, I should make sure that I send something from the landline. I get that. So that's what I should do, all right? If you are you have one job as a credit repository, as a credit reporting bureau, you have one job, and they copulated with the pooch, all right? To Lior's question, all right? Hey, these things happen. What about all the people that have tried to repair their credit, and they say, well, these things happen, and the credit reporting agency has kind of been like, yeah, no, they don't just happen. We're going to lower your credit score. This is like comeuppance.
I think that it should escalate to a governmental level of involvement in terms of protection, because of the sensitivity of what they have in their hands. They have our lives in a nutshell, and what can be done is so detrimental to each individual that I think it should rise to the level of being licensed and being monitored and having a federal, and I think, right, a federal criminal liability, that it's a crime on a federal level not to properly secure such information.
Won't get any argument from me.
So it was actually the web application for consumers to go on Equifax and dispute information. That was the access entry data point for this cyber attack. So people said, how come it was so close, when you talk about firewalls and where the data should be, this application was actually used by consumers to be able to log on to Equifax and dispute information on their credit reports. So 143 million files were breached at that point in time. I think it's going to get worse. Typically, when corporations first announce these data breaches, it's only the tip of the iceberg. You saw with the Department of Homeland Security, the Office of Personnel Management started out with X amount of million, and it went to triple X amount of millions. So not only did they get all of our personal data, the people that were disputing the information, they got those documents.
They stepped in it.
They stepped in. So, hey, here's my Bank of America account, my statement that I'm disputing the information based upon the fact you
Just
can see
giving
that
out
I
more information.
So the hackers got routing
It's just
numbers.
more
They got
and
stuff
more and
they
more.
weren't even they weren't even looking for.
They weren't
they
even
got the keys to
looking
the
for.
kingdom.
We're coming to the close of the show, and I want to ask you, what do you see in the future, really quick? I mean, what changes would you like to see proposed?
So, with a little bit of a, not a smile, but again, I've been saying change your PINs and passwords. That's the easiest thing for all of us to do. Again, it makes it a little bit more difficult for the hackers to get into our accounts because they have your information. So you also have to pay attention to phishing emails. They're already being sent. So you have an account with Chase. You're going to get an email from Chase. If you could see me, I have air quotes. It's not from Chase, but it looks like it's from Chase. It's got the logo, it's got all the legalese on there, and it's going to say, Dear Victoria, there's been a problem with your account. Please contact us immediately. Here's a link, which you should never click on a link from an email. I don't care if you think it's your account. Pick up the phone and call Chase. And call the number that you have on file or the number that you obtain. Don't call the number that's on the email.
Right, of
because
course.
that's the number to the hacker who's overseas. The second thing is you might get a phone call that says, Victoria, this
Never
is,
give information
this
to
is
anybody
Bob
who
from
calls
Chase.
you.
Listen, there's a problem with your debit card, and we froze it, so you can't use it. So now you're sitting at your desk at work, and you say, well, I need gas on the way home. I have to buy dinner. Oh, my God, what's the matter? And they say, well, let's just verify some things. Can you verify the card number?
Yeah.
413-265, and what's the security? It's 320. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Now you just gave them
All the
information that they
So
needed.
never give anybody information that
Whether it's
contacts
on the
you.
phone or the email, hang up or just X out of the email and make the phone call yourself.
Paul, I want to thank you very much for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us today. We very much appreciate you. You really do bring an incredible amount of information. How does someone reach you or follow you?
Again, to get a copy of the Data Breach Survival Guide, text the word FIX, F-I-X, to 71441. That's FIX to 71441. Or call us at 888-533-8138, 888-533-8138, or go to our website at betterqualified.com.
Awesome. I want to thank my dedicated co-host, Lior Eldad.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here, especially for this show. We
welcome.
very much appreciate you. And Phil Forenza, you're always appreciated as well. Please visit retalkradio.com to get information on our hosts, how to get information on our topics, how to reach our guests, our podcasts, and our blogs. Real Estate Talk airs every Sunday morning on AM 710 WOR. Until next time, I'm Victoria Rivadeneira, and thank you so much for listening to Real Estate Talk.